Welcome everybody to the Log Cabin here at Manhattan Center. MixCon 2018, is that? Oh God. Wow, I actually made it to the correct year. My name's Mitch Thomas, I am with Soundtoys, and you're here to find out some interesting stuff about Soundtoys, hopefully. What I'm gonna do, as I said earlier, I'm just gonna babble for as much time as I have. And then we're gonna say goodbye to the camera guys because they have lots of work to do. And then we can do Q&A for as long as you want. So what I've got here is this quick little session. I'm going to play you a bit of it. I've already played you some of it, and then I'm going to take Soundtoys off of it. I've just been mutating things in weird ways, and then we'll go through little bits and pieces of it, and I'll try to drop tips on you as I show you how I'm doing some of this stuff. So here's the track. I know what you feel for me, and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you. Now we'll get rid of Soundtoys. I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you. I know. Before it was not but in there it is So I'm just gonna start on track number 1 and go with this kick drum here, and we'll solo it out, and that's the kick drum. Pretty impressive, I know. I recorded that. I didn't. It's just a sample. But what we get out of it with the effect rack, which is my baby now. I just love effect rack. If you haven't gotten into it, you should get into it. We get this. And the pieces of this are pretty interesting. It's one of my favorite tricks. If you have ever used Filterfreak, it's a really great tool for adding some amazing beef to a kick drum, even in a loop. Because you can find that resonant spot of it and hit it with a bandpass filter, which is what we're doing here. So this is what it's generating. And mix that back in to my kick drum. Now, that's not so secret. We've used filters before, so you use a bandpass filter, find the resonant spot. To find it, if you don't know this about our plugins, you can click on a title of the plugin and it will give you the numeric readout. So 51 Hertz. If we want to use the shift command to do fine tune, we can find a different note at 41. So you can dial it in to whatever you need. Now, the second Filterfreak in this, I'm doing a different kind of trick, which is causing this. Basically what I've done is I've gone in, put it on a low pass filter. In the tweak menu, you can open the filter, the frequency mod all the way up, so it's not affecting the signal at all. And the analog mode, I've got switched to pump, which is this crazy poppy, extra nasty transient mode of pushing the analog. The analog mode, when we designed it, was the sound of going in and out of a piece of hardware. So you could drive the input and you can drive the output, and it gives you the effect of that, along with whatever plugin you're using, filter, tremolo, whatever. In this case, I'm using the filter so that I can kind of not affect it, but still have a mix control on the front panel. So this is what that's actually doing. You see how hard I'm driving that Filterfreak. So mixing that back in, I'm just using it basically as a compressor. So Filterfreak is a secret compressor. Then on the end, I think I've tossed on a decapitator, because why not? Just to give it some extra beef. That's a lot of beef. So from that to that. And it's not just loudness wars, but I'm winning that one. And the snare, let's go listen to the snare real quick. Sorry to move really fast, but it's on video. You can rewatch it. All the secrets in one tiny box. I thought the snare was kind of boring and it was too much, so I'm going to cut one of them out. And I do that by using, let me get to the right effect rack. There, tremolator. I'm using it as kind of a gate. I'm just chopping out that first snare. And then I put on a little radiator to give it some mush, and Echo Boy to give it a nice big space. And most of this stuff is presets, and I'll show you. In the effect rack, you have master presets up here, which I started with gate slapback on there, but I threw the tremolator in to chop out that snare drum. And we can look at that. I'll show you how to do that, because the rhythm editor lets you just drop in notes. So since I only have 2 snares in there, I know I can get rid of that one just by cutting that out. And I'll show you more about the rhythm editor. That's kind of a cheesy use of it, but it works for my needs. And for any of the plugins inside of the rack, you can click on the button up in the right-hand corner, and that gives you your master presets from each plugin. So you have access to anything you create custom or any of the libraries right there from the front of the plugin inside of Effect Rack. Then you can save the whole shebang as your own plugin. I don't know if anyone has ever said shebang, but in this context, but I just did. So yeah, because it's a word that should be coming back. Probably not. Probably not. But all right, let's move on. Because the hi-hat has got an interesting trick on it that I have used quite often. So the hi-hat is this. Exciting. You can use that if you want. You can steal it from me. But I need the hi-hat to be something else. I need a little more rhythm. So what I did was I put Echo Boy on there, and I'm going to go ahead and solo it without the kick and snare. Because, see, you feel that groove? Damn. But Echo Boy, I'm using the rhythm mode, which is a multi-tap delay, and it would normally create a series of like stutters. And I'm going to I'll just play this for you, and then I'll show you how I broke it down. So that's just Echo Boy doing its thing and making this into a totally different track, which also has some groove and some swing to it, and a little kind of random sound to it. Now the way that's achieved is you put on the rhythm mode. I'm going to turn all this other stuff off. And normally you would have something that sounded like this if you just turned on rhythm mode. You just get those straight stutters. Now I wanted that kind of transmitter sound because I wanted to have some character. And then I can use the shape tool down in the corner here, and I've got it on non-linear, which gives you kind of a random selection on the taps. And the shape tool lets you instantly add contour to it. And there are several in there, so you can do fade, swell, reverse, and you can make it a little more drastic. And that's really amazing. That shape tool is something that would take you hours to do in a multi-tap delay, a hardware multi-tap delay of sitting there adjusting each volume for each individual tap and then deciding that's not right. So the shape tool, a brilliant feature put in there by our amazing coders. I wanted to go back and choose non-linear because it gives me a little more of a random feel. And then to get the extra groove in it, I go to the groove knob, which is appropriately labeled because that's what it does. And I'm going to add a little swing to it. Or shuffle. Which one? Shuffle, swing, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Sorry, gotcha. All right, so those are two really cool features. If you don't know about swing and shuffle, and on the other side of that is feel, which is rush and drag. So you can really take any of these delays and drop them exactly into any pocket you want to put them into. My pocket, your friend's pocket, your neighbor's pocket, whatever. You can put your delays where they need to be to make the track work. And then, of course, over here on the sonic side of things, you have 30 different styles. Actually, I think it's a little more now. So you can get lots of different sonic characteristics, which, of course, can also be driven. But that's the one I like, so I'm going to stick with that one. All right, on to the next track, which is our bass track. It's already a nice little fat actual Moog, not virtual Moog. Nothing wrong with virtual. I didn't say that. Virtual is awesome. Virtual is what allows, because we're diehard hardware nuts. We love it. Soundtoys, the owner of Soundtoys, has an insane collection of cool, real gear. And that's why he knows what it sounds like. And the reason he has that gear is to make sure he knows what it sounds like. He digs in hard and he analyzes things, ears, tools, probes. Am I allowed to say probes? But he does use probes. Good. And we want to pass on some of these sounds to people who maybe can't afford, like, I can't afford this. I just can't. I'd love to think that I could, but I can't. So, but we want to bring those sounds to more people, and as best we can, give you that experience with the interface and the sound. So that's the deal. That's why Soundtoys do what we do. So let's get on that bass track. Probably simple enough to just turn it on and let you hear, and then we'll dig through it. And this comes back to the rhythm editor again. So I'm using Tremolator as an auto gate, which looked like that. There's my rhythm for my bass line. And then I've given a little filter variance on the step with Filterfreak, a little drive with Decapitator, and a little bounce with Echo Boy. And I can mix that all back in a little bit if I want to hear just a little bit of the original sustained out bass. Simple. Almost every one of our plugins has a rhythmic element. We dig rhythm. I'm glad, because I've been like a drum machine nut since I was a little kid. I'm like addicted to them. Every new one that comes out, I'm like, oh, I can't afford another one. But oh, maybe just one more. That one's little. But I love all the rhythmic elements, and the owner and the main coder, Ken Bogdanovich, he's really into it too, and he does such a good job. He's come up with so many of these features that are like the rhythm editor. I think we developed in 2001, so way ahead of its time to have synced rhythmic effects. While we're here, let me show you something real quick. If you are a Filterfreak user, you may or may not have opened the tweak menu to know that, oh, come back, that we have the frequency modulation that you're listening to, changing the filtering, but you could turn that off and you can modulate just the resonance. So if you want to have something that's spiking a nice resonant peak in time, in a rhythm, you can totally do that. Or amplitude, the level mod is in there too, so you can mix and match those things in different plus and minus, so you can have one, you can have level going down while resonance is going up to try and control those things. So it's kind of a secret in there. It's in a lot of the presets, but you may or may not have known that was what was going on. Now you do. Secret! I didn't tell that one last time. Yay, new. At least got one new one in. Yes, I am a champion. On to the little synth arpeggiator part. I played this myself. I came up with the entire concept on this part. Really proud, I gotta say. I know I've been playing for years, but this may be the pinnacle. So I needed to change this into a pad and something that kind of filled in the gaps. So of course I turned to Crystallizer. If you're not familiar with Crystallizer, it's a 3-octave up and down pitch shifting reverse granular delay. And so I'm sure everyone knows what that is. Because if you do, write it down, because I don't. But it does this. So a little bit of a change from what we had. Let's listen to the individual elements there and see. So there's just Crystallizer on that synth part. And then I use Filterfreak to give it a little bit of a spacey goodness. And then Tremolator is giving it some rhythm, a new rhythm instead of what was there before. And that actually goes with the vocal. Let me.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
Slow down now. Ah, it's beautiful.
I know that you still feel.
I don't know why I'm not rich. But yeah, okay. So let's move on to the vocal and kind of piece that in. This one is a little different because I put a couple of our plugins that are not yet in the rack on there, which this is Little Altar Boy, which is sweet. If you don't have it, I'm sorry, we gave it away for a little while, so you totally missed out. But it's relatively inexpensive and it goes on sale, and it's in the bundle, so if you get the bundle, you'll be super stoked to have it. It's a fun tool. It was designed to be, what it is, a voice manipulator. This is from a technology that we developed a long time ago. We made a plugin called Pure Pitch back in the day. It was one of the best ones out there for doing format control and pitch shifting, right? You know, you're original. OG. So we kind of moved that technology forward because there wasn't a lot out there, and we put it into Little Altar Boy as kind of a little gritty, grungy. Now I'm going to play it. All right.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel
So this is what I've done to her voice.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
And I'm going to get back to that in just a second, but I'm going to go to default, and we're going to start from scratch if I can find default. Ooh, default. I'm going to go robotic to default. All right. So I'll turn that off, and we're just going to listen to her voice.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
So it separates the format and the pitch.
It's only now
If you don't know what format is, it's like the timbre of the voice. So we're going to do some of that.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down.
And that's separated, so the quality of her voice is staying the same while the pitch is going somewhere else.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
And I can do the same thing with the format.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion
just change the quality of her voice without changing the pitch. You can do both together by hitting the link button.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
Should have had some more coffee.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down.
You can also do a little hard tune thing with the quantize button, which
I know that you still feel for me,
gives you a little bit of that effect from some other company that we will not say. But it's classic sound, right? We all know that sound. And it's right there it is with the click of one button. All right, so beyond that, I can put it in robot mode and get me a nice, get a nice drone, which is possibly makes my song even more boring than it was. But if we did something cool like,
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
and I'm going to put a little drive on it to give it an edge.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
And then I'm going to mix it back in way in the back.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
And then I'm going to put a little plate on it.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
I'm going to mix it a little bit further back.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion
there
slowing down for you.
The little plate is our newest plugin. If you don't have that one, you also missed it. We gave it away for free. Oh my gosh! I hope you're starting to feel like I got to keep track of these guys. It's an emulation of the EMT 140, which there were several of them out there at the time, and I'll be the first to say I was going, why are we doing this? Why are we doing a plate? I was wrong. It's so sweet. It's so easy. It's so simple. It takes the concept of the plate, which was pretty straightforward. You had basically a knob, and that was it. And it gives you that knob in the same time frame, basically. Ours will go a little shorter than the actual plate.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
And the plate would go up into about right here.
It's only now I felt the wheels of motion,
But ours will go
slowing down for you.
up into here.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
And I don't know if you can see that infinity mark there, but yes, it will. It will actually go into infinity. And here's where I get to use my bad words. I'm not shitting you. It's infinity. I let this thing go and come back the next morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. And it's really, here's the beauty. Shrunk.
I know that you still feel for me,
Automate.
and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
It's really cool for grabbing notes. And if you put any rhythmic stuff on top of that sustain note, it's so cool, sweet. I'm gonna put the other stuff in there because I went to the trouble of putting an effect rack on every channel. It's just a, go boy there, but we'll throw them in.
I know that you still feel for me, and I feel for you.
Now with my
It's only now
my amazing synth track really makes it.
Slowing down for you. I know that you.
But we've got one more track before we finish off the whole big beat. And time-wise, okay. Let's give a look at this. This is another one of those synth tracks that I'm pretty proud of. Whoops, that's a drum beat. Never mind. I'm going to do the synth track here. I know. Wow. I know.
Points on the record for that.
Did you hear that? Slightly different timing. Oh, you thought I was done, but I wasn't. But it had a purpose. It had a purpose. It was to show off this feature. This is another one of those things for multi-tap delay that used to be a total pain in the ass. And it was called the bouncing ball effect. And programming it was a nightmare. And the nerds that did program it, I honor them because I would never have done it. But here's what it sounds like. Weird, interesting, maybe. Yeah, I love it. But and you're like, Mitch, how did you do that? I was like, it's remarkably easy. Shh. So we're gonna start from scratch again. I'm gonna go. What's the best way to do that? Probably this way. All right, I'm gonna throw in Echo Boy, so you can see this from top to bottom how amazingly complex it is. Switch to rhythm echo mode. Switch to time. Roll that time down a little bit. Add as many repeats as you want. Open up the tweak menu. Turn the warp knob. You're done. Oh my God, it's so easy. And then if you want to add the shaping tool over here, which is what I did, I put it on reverse. And you can warp the other direction and if you turn the mix off, you don't have that initial note, so you just get the cool little warpy. It's that easy. It's crazy. And that's, another one of those kind of hidden features, the warp knob. And you can automate the warp knob, but it might send you to a different dimension. And you get all that nice, cool pitch. So tons of fun, super easy. I don't know what I got on this other drum track, but I'm going to play it anyway. So let's see. Because I was just throwing some stuff together to... I think I just mushed this up. Let's see if I did. Yeah, because I already had a pretty solid kick drum in there, so I didn't really need another one competing with it. So I thought I'll just make some gross stuff, and it's way out here on the drum thing. So then we get to put our...
It's only now I felt the wheels wheels of motion slowing down for you. I know that you still feel for me and I feel for you.
Whoops. Ha! I messed up my rhythm track.
The wheels of motion slowing down for you.
There we go.
I know that you still feel for me and I feel for you. It's only now I felt the wheels of motion slowing down for you.
And
I know that you still feel for me and I feel.
yuck. So that's a few of the kind of secrets and hidden stuff. Tweak menus are your friends. Open them up, dig around. It's a plug-in. You can't break it. Could break your ears. I'll give a quick thing for all those who are new to this. In the effect rack, one of the benefits is you can pull presets that are lots of plugins and save them as whole presets. I think I said that already. But it has a master tempo control, so you can sync everything in one rack together or not. It has input and output control, but the really cool thing is the recycle knob is a master feedback loop that feeds back the entire thing. So you can create reverbs, which we have done for you, but you can create your own. It's okay. We're currently, having a little special, which we're all a little special at Soundtoys, which is why we developed what we're doing. There's more stuff coming down the pipeline. I can't say what it is. I can say it's a plug-in, probably. No, it's a plug-in. But I don't know when, but you can. I trust in the geniuses that make these things, and I guess that's covering the. We're done. Good. Do I need? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate everyone coming. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here in this amazing room with all this amazing gear.
I know that you still